Now I know what you're thinking. I look a little bit different, but it's still me at the core. We're gonna have a phantasm. There goes my hat. One thing Mortal Kombat does not do is phone it in. Every game is jam-packed with content. Even in these modern times where games release half-broken and with bare-bones content, Mortal Kombat is always undeniably worth the money right out of the gate. Additionally, Mortal Kombat has been ever-changing. Every game has shaken up the experience in some form or another, rather than sticking with the gameplay of the previous iteration. Mortal Kombat 2 felt very different than Mortal Kombat 1. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 added a running mechanic. MK4 went partially 3D. Deadly Alliance went full 3D and added fighting styles. Deception added combo breakers and a ring-out mechanic and death traps. Armageddon added a create a character and create a fatality system. MK vs DC returned to partial 2D gameplay like MK4 and added a rage system, freefall combat, and close combat. MK9 went back to 2D, added a meter system for enhanced specials, and the X-Ray Supers mechanic. MKX brought back Run and added variations in modern brutalities. MK11 switched X-Rays to Fatal Blows, added flawless blocks, crushing blows, breakaways, and modified the variation system to also include custom variation setups. And of course, each game also had their own side offerings like Test Your Might, Test Your Sight, Chess Combat, The Crypt, Puzzle Combat, Gear, Conquest, and Story Mode, etc. So that brings us to Mortal Kombat 12. One thing is for sure, we can expect it to set itself apart from the previous game just like all the others have done. One thing in particular, according to Ed Boon himself in this interview with Polygon, is it's unlikely we will see variations return for this next game. In my opinion, this is great news. I didn't hate the concept of variations. They could be very hit or miss depending on the character and depending on their comparable execution in MKX versus MK11, but I very much want to see the series return to a standard moveset for each character. For me, that's classic Mortal Kombat. You know what you're getting when you pick a character. Same as when you're going up against a character. You know what tools they have, and they know what tools you have. I find this to be most optimal competitively, as well as even from a more casual standpoint, as it will mean it takes less to learn characters and matchups. It also means characters will always have their most recognizable moves, instead of seeing those cast aside for a variation that sees none of them included. Additionally, it means each character can have their own type to them, such as a grappler, a zoner, or a rushdown, instead of seeing each character try to cover multiple styles, thus muddying the waters and losing character identity and individuality in their gameplay. No more seeing each character get the equivalent of a fireball or a teleport. I'm also hoping by going back to a standard moveset that means we could get a few more characters on the base roster like we did with MK9, as it won't require making 3 distinct movesets per character and the balancing struggle that introduces. There's something to be said for simple on the surface with some depth underneath if you look for it. I love the idea of it being fairly easy to pick up a character and know what you're doing with them, including all of their specials out of the box. But then, if you want to master that character, you can put in more time to learn the more complex combos and techniques. This is how it was with Mortal Kombat 2, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, MK4, and MK9 specifically. And I think those are all still the games that feel the most Mortal Kombat to me, and the most fun to go back and play. So if I were to build an ideal experience for Mortal Kombat 12's gameplay, this is what I'd like to see. First off, I think many feel that MK9 was the best feeling Mortal Kombat of the modern era, so I think that's where we should look in terms of where to go next. Let that be the foundation for the gameplay, and then let's build off of that. I would cherry pick the best parts of MKX and MK11 to build on top of that. For instance, a limited run mechanic of some sort would be awesome, as the pacing of MKX was a lot of fun. Maybe not so it lets you go full screen, as I'd still want dashes to play a big role in the movement, but almost like a short burst mechanic that let you maybe run 1/3 of the screen before it ran out of stamina. That'd be pretty cool. The next thing would be brutalities. They were great, so they should absolutely stay. Then for Mortal Kombat 11, I'd like to see Mercy return, as that's always a fun option too. And I'd like to see Crushing Blows return as well, except I'd prefer they drop the odd requirements like doing a slide 5 times in the match and instead have them be whiff punishes only, like you see with the uppercut version of it. You could dial back the damage some and then give them unlimited use throughout the match as a way to check your opponent and punish them when they miss their combo. Stylistically, these are all the fun of an X-Ray or Fatal Blow, but done in a more bite-size version. Speaking of which, the X-Rays or Fatal Blows, I would prefer we see them toned down greatly. If we're not going to tie them to meter or make you earn them, I'd prefer they cut them down to about half the length of time, as they can really get redundant and repetitive after you've seen them a couple of times. Personally, I don't think we need them at all, as crushing blows can sort of take their place, as I mentioned, if we make them more common, as suggested. But I also understand that they probably aren't going away due to their appeal to a more casual audience for short-term pickup and play, so it's more of just finding a better balance with them in terms of how much they take you out of the match and how repetitive they can get. And the other thing I'd keep from Mortal Kombat 11 is the customization of intros and win poses. That sort of customization is awesome and can give you that taste of making the character to your liking without disrupting the gameplay side of things. Thanks everybody for tuning in, watching this video. Let me know down in the comments below what sort of gameplay mechanics you want to see in Mortal Kombat 12, and I'll see you guys later.